Good morning, my friends. Today I want to ask you a question. How many of you find it difficult to implement the whole concept of unconditional love to all the people around, all human beings? I certainly find it very difficult, especially when I was younger. As I grew up, I started feeling, more understanding, especially when I started studying psychology. I found myself drifting into humanistic and existential psychology. There, Carl Rogers talks about unconditional positive regard for the person that you are helping to self-actualize and to realize their potentials. He doesn't talk about solving problems, but he talks about having unconditional positive regard for the person. And he believes in the client-centered therapy, so that everything is done for the purpose of helping that individual become the best version of themselves. Abraham Maslow accepted the whole concept of unconditional positive regard as well, and felt the same way like Rogers, that you cannot realize your full potential without feeling the love, the unconditional positive regard. It doesn't say love because it's a therapist and a client. It's difficult to talk about, but it's unconditional positive regard without your need to change, without expectations of reward or the person would love you back. Just helping the person be in an environment where they're accepted and they feel that you are having empathy and compassion for what they're feeling, and they're authentic and you are authentic and you are capable of providing that environment where there is this unconditional positive regard. There was also Viktor Frankl, who's a logotherapist, and he's one of the survivors of the Holocaust. He felt that he was searching, he was expecting people to continue in their life to search for meaning. And in continuing to search for meaning, unconditional positive regard and love will go hand in hand. So you can't search for meaning and you can't find true meaning unless you find a loving environment and someone who really loves you unconditionally, without trying to change you, without conditions, and without expecting that you love them back. Then I started getting more into Rumi and the whole concept of, Sufism. Sufism talks about the unconditional love is only for the Creator, the Beloved. When I was younger, it was difficult for me to imagine that I can love God that much. And I didn't for quite a while, because I felt that, some of the things that were happening in the world, things that were happening to me, I just felt God didn't care enough. So then the more I got into Sufism, the more I got into spirituality, the more I realized that it's not that God is there, He's waiting for us to be loved, to love Him as He loves us, that He is the one who is in love with every human being. And that unconditional love from our part should only be reserved for God, because the whole concept of oneness in Sufism implies that if you love God, He will breathe into His spirit, and you cannot but love everybody. You sometimes hate to step on an ant or hurt an animal or even bang a table, like everything for you, very much like Buddhism. In Buddhism, they actually specifically talk about the concept of unconditional love and the loving kindness. So if you have both, then you're acting as if you are the mother of every living being. that sometime in your reincarnations you were a mother to some of those people. So you love everybody as if you are their mother. Can you imagine a whole world being loving people like a mother does, who is able to sacrifice and love unconditionally? That's what I realized when I had my children. I experienced what it's like to love unconditionally. You love your child no matter what. And I felt also, then realized how much I was loved, regardless of whether I had polio, I had whatever problems. I was loved unconditionally by my mother. I think it's easier for the mother to have this love. I think men may find it difficult, though they may think they are providing it. But this non-judgmental, non-conditional, without expectations of love back, any normal human being, without, of course, traumas or being abused or having psychological problems, usually mothers provide that. And I know a few of my friends on Facebook who are experiencing this extreme unconditional love for the children, even if they have a disability or in spite of it. So this is it. Like, you love unconditionally, and you create in that person the potential to become the best version of themselves without fixing them, without doing anything at all. But the usual love we have, like romantic love and all that, is conditional. If they love us back, if they treat us nicely, then we love them, and if we stop loving them, if they don't give us what we expect. So that's not unconditional love. Or the fact that you think, I love all my friends on Facebook, but that's not unconditional love, because some of them I don't know that well, and some of them, even if I knew, I haven't lived with them. You experience that kind of love with your children, with your very close family, and very few best friends. You can experience that unconditional regard and love. I certainly do that. I have a few friends whom I consider that I love them unconditionally. But it has nothing to do with passion and sex and all that. It has nothing. It's a more spiritual love, where you love someone no matter what. And you're willing to sacrifice for them no matter what. So I hope this clarifies something that I found years to clarify for me, and I thought maybe if I talked about my experience it would be helpful. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye for now. Thank you for listening.